Welcome back to some new r/malicious compliance stories, where people comply to the letter, but not the spirit of a request. I hope you had a great day. Thanks for all the likes and comments on the last video. And now let's start with the first story. It's called Policy Gone Wrong. I work for a large multinational company that introduced a no strong scent policy about a year ago. The idea was to prevent discomfort from overpowering perfumes and colognes, which I totally understand and have no problem following. However, there's an administrator in our office who takes enforcing rules very seriously. Even when it's unnecessary, she's always on the lookout for potential violations. A few months after the policy was introduced, she suddenly started targeting colleagues, including two of my friends, accusing them of breaking the scent rule. The way she handled it rubbed a lot of people the wrong way, so a few co-workers and I came up with a harmless little response. We decided to start wearing light perfumes or colognes a few times a week. It's all in good fun, and we'd stop immediately if anyone actually had an issue. But so far, no one else has ever complained, except her. Now, instead of just one or two people wearing cologne, there are about 20. We can't help but find the situation a little amusing. The next story is called Bad Business. At the time, I was a small business owner, running a pickup and delivery laundry service in a big city. Our main customers were small salons, bars and restaurants. People liked us because we didn't require long contracts. Just a simple call us if you need us set up. If you didn't like our service, you didn't have to call again. Simple. We were still fairly new to the business when we landed a Michelin 2-star restaurant's tablecloths and napkins. It was a huge deal for us. Now, there were two key people at this restaurant we dealt with. First, there was M, the finance guy. We didn't like him. He always tried to negotiate our prices down, even after we had already agreed on a deal. But then there was A, the logistics expert. She was a problem-solving genius, the kind of person every high-end restaurant should have. The restaurant was our biggest customer, at $3,000 a month. We even rented extra space just to handle their laundry. But despite the great deal M already negotiated from the start, he had a bad habit of trying to lower the price after the service was done. Every time a payment was due, he tried to get us to accept less. We repeatedly told A this wasn't okay. The other owners and the head chef cared about the business, but M was just a numbers guy. This back and forth went on for months. They always pushed for discounts. We never gave in, because we had already given them the best deal possible. And come on, at $400 per plate, they could afford $2 per tablecloth. Then things escalated. M started withholding $1,700. Money we really needed, trying to pressure us into accepting a lower payment. I think he assumed we were struggling like many small businesses, but honestly, we were just exhausted. And we had reached a point where we were completely out of patience. That's when I came up with a plan. My partner agreed, and we set it in motion. We waited for the weekend to come. By then we had almost all of the restaurant's laundry. On Monday, I called A and told her straight up, M could argue all he wanted, but we weren't budging. We had their laundry, pressed and ready to go. The restaurant was scheduled to reopen on Tuesday. If they wanted their tablecloths and napkins back, they needed to pay us in full for this order and all outstanding orders. And they needed to pay in cash. Only then would they get their laundry. I also let her know that once the payment was made, we were done working with them. It was a risky move financially, but we weren't going to let them take advantage of us anymore. To her credit, A completely understood. She loved our service and knew we weren't bluffing. She passed the message to the other owners, and soon after she called me back to set our meeting time. When I arrived at the restaurant, I left my partner in the van with the laundry, just in case. I had dealt with plenty of difficult clients before, and I wasn't about to take any chances. M wasn't there, but the head chef, one of the other owners, was. Because it was him and not M, I agreed to accept a business check instead of cash. It cleared without any issues. I called my partner to bring in the laundry. Later, A called me with a proposal. Keep working with them, and we'd never have to deal with M again. But honestly, the stress wasn't worth it. It was a relief to be done with them, so I said no thanks. The third story is called Won't Pay. The company I work for has several branches in different countries, even though it's still a family business. Now, different countries have different laws, and in some places, authorities are more lenient. I mention this because what happened took place in an eastern country. Our division leader, let's call him Bob, is the youngest brother of my boss. He managed to secure a few contracts to transport goods. Anyone who has worked in the cargo business knows that the goods being transported are usually worth at least 20 times what the transport company gets paid for hauling them. Bob sent out a few trucks and they successfully delivered the goods. But after waiting for over a month, he still hadn't been paid. The company that issued the contracts kept insisting that they had sent the payment. There was no broker or middleman. They had the correct bank details. However, after repeatedly checking, it was clear that no money had actually been transferred to our division's bank account. I only found out about this whole situation later, because their dispute happened over email, mostly overnight. Then Bob came up with a plan. He accepted another order from the same company, the one that hadn't paid him. But this time he did so incognito. He personally drove the trucks to the customer, loaded the goods, and then he hit the truck. For good measure, he disconnected all GPS tracking devices and even removed the batteries. What followed was a flurry of angry emails from the company that issued the orders, the same company that had failed to pay. They sent message after message, full of frustration and accusations. Bob, however, responded calmly and simply, "Pay what you owe me, and I'll personally make sure your goods are delivered safe and sound." They paid, he delivered the goods. Word on the street is that Bob might have even negotiated a little extra for his troubles. The last story is called No Daycare. This happened years ago when I was working in a craft store. Like most craft stores, we had shelves full of delicate items, glass, ceramics and other breakable, sometimes sharp merchandise. One day I was stocking one of these fragile sections when a woman came in with what felt like a dozen kids under 15. In reality it was only 4, but they were very energetic. She let them loose to play tag and Marco Polo in the aisles while she shopped. After colliding with them twice, because they weren't watching where they were going, I realized I needed to find their mom before someone, either them or me, got hurt. Now, I had worked in customer service long enough to know that if you directly ask someone to control their kids, they often get defensive and refuse out of principle. So I decided to take a different approach. I casually stood in the same aisle as the mom, pretending to stock some items nearby. Then, without actually pressing the button on my work headset, I spoke as if I were on a call. "Hey, did anyone get the broken glass from aisle 13? No? Okay, I'll be over there in just a moment to clean that up." Suddenly, she became very aware of the potential hazards of letting kids run wild in a store filled with fragile items. She immediately gathered them up, and they stayed by her side for the rest of their shopping trip. After that, I used the same trick every time customers treated the store like a free daycare, and it worked about 90% of the time. Thanks for watching the video to the end. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please don't forget to leave a like, comment and subscribe. And if you have time, watch another one of my videos. Also, if you want to support me further, check out the channel membership or Patreon. And now, I hope you have a great day. See you soon. Bye bye.